Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, as we are on Judge Watch or Judge Corley Watch, day 6, we have not heard her decision as of yet. We don't know when that decision is going to be rendered. A lot of us were hoping that it would come down over the weekend. It did not. Obviously, it's now 12:01, which is 9:01 a.m. in San Francisco. And obviously, there are some big opinions out there, one of which a good friend of this program specifically is, of course, Foss Patents, who seems to think that because she has a jury case that she is overseeing right now as we speak, that she might not render her decision until after that, which could be as far as 6 hours later in the day. Now, we had heard from several people in the chat that said court closes at 4:30 in San Francisco, but maybe we hear something around 4 o'clock. Again, folks, this is a big case. We have no idea when Judge Corley is in fact going to render her decision, which we all believe is going to be in favor of Microsoft by not issuing the preliminary injunction to stop the deal. But listen, we don't know. Only time is going to tell. I think we've gone over this time and time again. But listen, folks, we have some breaking news regarding Lina Khan and the FTC. Folks, it does not look good for Lina Khan. She's being investigated by Congress, and apparently she's in a bit of hot water because, as reported by a major Washington Post newspaper, it appears that she is refusing to hand over requested documents regarding this particular case and her ongoing and her situation with the CMA. I'll read verbatim what they're saying, but I can tell you this right now. She can be held in contempt of Congress, which is a crime, and she can be getting a lot of trouble for that. But we're going to break that down. But of course, we're going to talk about games, folks. We have some new information on Avowed, thanks to several posters. We're going to talk about what we can expect from Avowed and get our takes on, do we expect it to blow up with its graphics? I think what we saw was a pinch. And I think that we're going to get something that's going to be incredibly and totally different. And of course, we're going to be talking about some inXile information regarding Clockwork Revolution, folks. And that's being compared to 2 very popular games. I have a feeling that game is going to be one of the first major new IPs from studios that they picked up a couple of years ago. But let's get into the introductions. Crazy Lou Gaming, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Man, everything good, Mr. Boomstick. I mean, had a kind of restful weekend. Decided to take a little break, little rest, from the internet, stuff like that. Grabbed my motorcycle, went out of the city, had a little bit of fun. Everything good. So happy that we actually got some gaming news to talk about, because really it's all been talks about the FTC versus MS. And happy that we actually got some good gaming news, and happy to jump into today.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have some even more breaking news, folks. It has been announced this morning by EA Studios. Cliffhanger Games has announced that they are officially working on a title based on Black Panther, and I am getting goosebumps just talking about that because, oh my goodness, Wakanda forever, baby! I have been saying that this is a hero that needs his own game. And we don't know. It was just announced, so we have no idea where it's even going to be. I would imagine that you're going to see the jungles of Wakanda brought to life. But, who knows where the Black Panther goes. But I can see stealth being a big part of it. And again, this is just my imagination running wild. I am looking forward to whatever they craft. Now, I've never heard of Cliffhanger Games. They're new to me, but I have the press release from Marvel, and we will get into that to open up the show. But Web Dave, what's going on, brother? You had a pretty damn good show yesterday. Big turnout, already 1K views. That is a big deal. Your show is growing, and of course, you dropped a major interview today. How the heck are you, bro?
I'm doing really good, Boom. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into today's topics, and of course, we always have our girl causing trouble. I'm telling you, it's gonna be crazy, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, folks. Look, here's the thing. I'm not on a witch hunt for Lina Khan because I don't know her. I know that she has very high aspirations, and probably a lot of it has to do with political, which most people do in Washington, D.C. Her ideology of protecting, supposedly protecting consumers from big tech and big corporations seems a bit skewed, to be honest with you, because whenever you hear her talk, it's only laser focused on stopping big tech from getting bigger, on but not how she's going to use this stoppage to help consumers gain in a market where we are underrepresented. I mean, that's just a fact. Big corporations, they're not our friends. They are here to make money. Their investors are here to make money. Their shareholders are in here to make money. Uh, but unfortunately, she's young. She's only 33, and she has an ideology that sounds on paper, which is, again, a lot of what she has put in her thesis is classroom based. It is not practical in real world usage. And a perfect example is her consistently going to court and losing and telling everyone, I don't care, we'll just sue even if we lose. You see, that's madness. And that's millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars being wasted on someone who does not care and does not want to play by the rules. And that's why she's currently being investigated. And of course, not only is she being investigated by one party, she's being investigated by both parties. So I think that the potential of her coming back in that position is slim to none. And if this thing with Congress gets held up, she can be impeached. We will get into that in a little bit, but let's continue with Fuzzy Belvedere, brother. I mean, it's great to have you here. The more trouble Lina Khan seems to make, the less anyone's going to take her seriously, especially the FTC. And after what's going on with what seems to be, an ABK deal. Yes, it's large. It's nearly $70 billion. Yes, it's the biggest deal in tech history, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? So, welcome.
Well, glad to be here with you guys. Unfortunately, we don't have the breaking news we were hoping for, but man, there's so much other news as far as, like you said, with Clockwork, Revolution, and Avowed, and just in general, this weekend on Twitter has been kind of wild with one of our friends in the community getting bombarded with like a weird take, but I don't know if we'll get into that. But
no, we can talk about. I actually talked to Cog this morning about it. Obviously, if you're not sure what exactly happened. David Jaffe, who is someone that I do not respect. I think that he's angry at the world. There's a reason why he was blackballed by the entire industry, because no one could work with him. He had some very nefarious things to say about the credibility of our good brother, and someone I consider to be an actual brother to me, and that is Lord Cognito of the Iron Laws podcast, where because he took a picture with Sarah Bond, his integrity was questioned on whether or not he could fairly judge Microsoft or Xbox. And he said it in a manner that took even Colin Moriarty by surprise. He's known to go off the handle. I've had a spat or two with him live on the air, as a matter of fact, many years ago, for something he said I found to be incredibly disrespectful. And I did what I do. I went after him and we had a conversation, if you can call it that. And, he thought he won. I thought I won, and who cares? But he did issue a public apology this morning that, of course, the gentleman and scholar that is Lord Cognito accepted. And he's a much better man than me. I would have not even responded to him, to be honest with you, because if there's anything you know about Cognito, the word integrity should be tattooed on those big arms of his, because that's all he is he is everything you would want a podcaster to be and an amazing community member to be. I don't understand where this came from with David Jaffe. And it made the rounds. And apparently, if you are someone that takes pictures with executives from Microsoft, you're a sellout, or you're on the payroll of some sorts, which I think is just preposterous. Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, because that means we're going to be talking about David Jaffe, and I'd rather not talk about that man, to be honest with you, because he's not worthy of it. He was someone that was a PlayStation founding father of God of War, and he made a couple of really, really good games. And then, obviously, I think he might have been involved in Twisted Metal, if I'm not mistaken. And he eventually did a lot of damage to his own name by saying some. Apparently, from what we understand, I didn't work with the guy, so I'm only telling you what I heard, is that he was very difficult, very abrasive to work with, and he burnt a lot of bridges. And when you burn a lot of bridges in the gaming industry, no one wants to work with you, and he's real angry about that. And every chance he gets, he does in fact take over or take advantage of the situation, where we saw him do something I thought was pretty novice, considering his age, considering his social media status, considering the fact that he has a YouTube channel that he's always on there talking about. He actually made a thumbnail going after Cognito with Cognito's face on it. Like, I mean, that's trashy YouTuber 101. Like, who does that, right? Cognito is, like I said, his reputation far precedes him outside. I mean, he's a proper gentleman in every sense of the word. So I'll go to you first, Fuzzy. Again, it was pretty odd over the weekend to see, Cognito have to come back and forth. But of course, Cog did what Cog does, and he killed him with kindness. I would not have been as kind personally. I would not have. Same. But I say that now and then. I always think about officer friendly, and I'd rather be the nice guy than the bad guy. But talk about it.
Well, my thing was, he wound up putting his foot in his mouth primarily because I guess he didn't do the research before, blabbing off that.
Why would he do that?
The same thing in the past. And a lot of people do this. And if you look at other industries, whether it's sports or entertainment or even politics, reporters are always taking pictures with their subjects that they're going to be reporting on.
Yeah.
And you can be a fan and a reporter and still have integrity. So I don't understand his take on it. Like, obviously, from his view, I guess you would have to be corrupt if you're going to, take pictures with him. And I would say, if you're going to focus on the corruption aspect or the influence aspect, it would be more so with the, free game codes or things along those lines. Like,
yeah.
And I know that's a whole different story. I mean, free game codes is primarily a necessity, so that way you can review the games. But outside of that, I can't see having a picture with, somebody that you're a fan of, or somebody within the industry that you're a fan of, being that much of a problem. And if you've listened to the Iron Lords podcast, they definitely give, criticism and critiques on Microsoft when they're necessary.
Yes.
So it's not like they hold a blind eye. It's like, oh, and I look over at my PlayStation family as well. It's like a lot of times they're mum is kept when it came to things like the battery issue with their controllers in the PS4. They don't last that long. And it's like everybody's celebrating that, oh, it's a built-in battery, but rechargeable batteries seem to last a lot longer. And you can either use regular batteries or rechargeable, whichever you prefer. So having that option is nice. But even when you have the built-in battery in like the Series 2 controller, it seems to outlast whatever's in, the PS4 or even the PS5 controller. So, but nobody over at PlayStation will fess up to that. It's like, oh, well, it's fine. You're using it wrong if your controller dies, or you should have two controllers to play one game. If you're one player, you should only really need one controller, but that's a me thing. But in the grand scheme of things, I just thought it was a bad take. A lot of people had awesome rebuttals to Jaffe, and even watching Dave's show last night. Sorry I wasn't able to participate on it last night, but definitely listened to it on the car ride back from dinner and stuff. And
thank you, man.
And you guys had a solid look at it as far as you can't equate these pictures to some form of collusion or bias and things like that. Like, let's be real, we're human beings. We're all going to have our own biases towards our preferred platforms and whatnot, but that doesn't mean you can't still ask the tough questions or scrutinize or critique those same platforms or individuals as well. At the end of the day, you're a consumer, and your consumerism is going to eventually come out and be like, hey, I feel like I've been slighted or cheated or something along those lines, and you're going to speak about it. So I hate making these kinds of equations in the community, but I always look at Jaffe as like the Alex Jones of gaming. And I know that might rub some people the wrong way, but it seems like he intentionally finds controversy, even when there is none, to make it, either about him or about something to be a distraction from what might, he might not be included. Like, he's not included in this ABK deal in any way. So, and I don't want to say to feel relevant, this is something he, cooked up, but it just feels that way a lot of times. It's like, we haven't heard from him in a while. Oh, he's about to say something stupid. I mean, smart people tend to say stupid things, but it is what it is. But I've probably given it enough airtime and rambling.
No, it's fine. I'm glad we decided to bring it up, because it wasn't a part of the conversation, because obviously, you don't want to highlight a knucklehead. Dave, I want to go to you, because you talked about it last night. You had obviously an intelligent conversation, which is what we expect.
We tried.
And what I like to equate David Jaffe to is a shock jock, right? They were very popular in the 80s. They said outrageous things. They got a ton of airtime because they said outrageous things. Some things were, nefarious. Some things were just plain out stupid. And this is one of those situations where I don't know, man. I just, it's, to me, is it a cry for help? Is it a cry to sub his YouTube channel? Maybe hate sells, and he knows that. I don't know. I don't really know. What's your hot take on it?
Twofold. One, it's I don't necessarily think it's a cry for help. I think it's more along the lines of him trying to feel relevant to the current situation. I mean, he's a good listen. He has some crazy takes sometimes, but in this situation, he was wrong, and then he completely got called out on it, and then he had to kind of apologize for it. Whether it was genuine or disingenuous, I don't know, but it's more along the lines of, in his mind, he's probably, okay, well, I fixed that problem. Let's see what else I can, try and get my name out there for. And it's, he doesn't really make any good points, and especially when it's brought to life about the PlayStation shill that really, that kind of did the same thing, and even down to the part where he's talking about the dinners, and it's like, okay, well, here he is at dinner with this guy, kind of thing. And it was like, but then he still tried to make light of the other situation, even though it was clear hypocrisy right in the face. And so instead of like owning up to it fully of, oh, that was a bad take, he just tries to, well, in this case, Colin was this, and it's just, disingenuous, just enough to try and get himself out of what he feels is the, any kind of trouble he is with the community. But in the long run, bad publicity is good publicity for somebody like this, because to him, it's just more of a, seems to be carrying the ball forward for his, he'll get asked on lots of shows, and what's your take on this? And you mentioned it. He'll get asked on a lot of shows, for the next, couple of weeks, because of his hot takes right now. And then, a couple of months from now, he'll come up with something else silly, stupid, or, meaningless, if you really back up.
Well, I mean, listen, stupid people do stupid things.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's just the bottom line. And again, if this is his way of being relevant, it's a poor way of doing that. You don't have to attack a pillar of the gaming community.
Correct.
Because he took a freaking picture with whoever. If he took a picture with Obama, would he be getting backdoor information on stocks? If he took a picture with whoever, what does it matter? Right. Again, if you're gonna look, I don't have much to say because I'm not going to be nice about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to read this knucklehead's apology.
Hey,
live. Yes, sir.
the one thing I thought was kind of cool was that Cognito, released a photo of him with the president of PlayStation as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was like kind of a, hey, look, if
I don't understand how this became console war. Again, I'm
Exactly.
going to be 53 years old. I hold myself accountable for things that I do. I'm big on that. If I get it wrong, folks, you know me, I'll come right out and say it. I got it wrong. This, no hair on my tongue. He's an old man. He should know better. He's much older than at least even me. And I'm going to be 53 in September. So he should know better, considering that he has had both sides of the coin as an actual game maker in the industry and now a content creator on YouTube. Now, I'm not saying that he's doing one or the other because of a certain reason. That's his demons. They're not mine, and I don't want them. But I'm going to read his apology, and I'm going to read Cognito's rebuttal. David Jaffe says this: yes, 100% Lord Cognito. I fully apologize for even suggesting your specific content, and thanks for explaining the goals of your content you and TIL make is compromised because of a pick in question. My bad. Looking forward to chatting with you live soon. See, for me, I think that's just pure garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. Okay. If someone came at me and said some very distasteful things about me, and they said that BS, I would not. Listen, folks, I'm a gentleman. They called me officer friendly on my beat because that's how I was. And how I am here is exactly how I was in uniform. Mirrored. No difference. Willing to help everyone. Always a handshake and a love for the community, as a cop as well as outside now a content creator. But I have a real nasty side, folks. You'll never see it because it really takes me back into a corner for it to come out. But when it comes out, it's nasty. And I don't think I something like this, when you're attacking my character because of a picture, like, I don't know so much about that. That's the nasty Craig going to come out. And I don't think you really want that in your life. But I'm going to read you what Cognito, the proper gentleman, said. Much better, bigger man than I would be. I'm going to be honest with you. He says, at David Jaffe, apology accepted and appreciated. I look forward to discussing more with you in the near future and using this as a teaching moment. Both of our communities can learn from it. This means a lot to me. # all love. Good on Cognito, who I spoke to for about an hour this morning. Because I really wanted to get the gist from him. And as aggravated as I sound now is exactly how aggravated I was on the phone, because I don't like it when people attack my family. And I think that David Jaffe is disgusting, and he should be ashamed of himself. And the only reason why that MF apologized is because the community gave that dude smoke. Because what he wrote is half-cocked at best. And I don't accept it. Because Cog's my brother. So fuck Jaffe. Pardon the French. Anyway, let's get back to the show. And let me bring in Crazy Lou Gaming. Sorry for the curse, folks. But I'm a little perturbed. That's the only one you're going to get today. Crazy Lou Gaming, let's talk about it.
Every time I see this stuff, this whole console warring, this whole hate thing, it just makes me sad because, hey, this is just console, guys. It's just a plastic box. This is what we do. We love gaming. We love talking about it. But just going, out there for personal attacks, because maybe you see his show this way or anything. I'm going to tell you something, especially in the Latin community, right? I mean, there's people out there that goes and hate. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm like against them or with them. I just, don't like that stuff. I don't go into the hate, the console war hating or people hating because of their opinions or on how they go or anything. No, that's just an opinion, guys. I mean, if they love talking about Xbox, let them talk about Xbox. If they love talking about PlayStation, let them talk about PlayStation, But going, to personal attacks or attacking somebody for what they do, I find it just wrong. It's just not a nice thing to do because, I mean, Iron Lords work really hard and they are at where they are at because they have worked hard for it. I mean, it's awesome. I'm happy, super happy for them. And for everything they do, on how they inform us, on how they put out their content. They do an awesome job. And for me, like, to, to go out there and do a personal attack, or say, oh, he only sided with this guys, not these guys. I mean, why? I mean, I don't understand, why is that a problem if he only talks about this guy, only talks more about Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, seriously, his channel is his channel. If he wants to talk about anything, he talks about anything and everything, and I have tons of respect for those guys. And the same thing with everybody who does content creation. I have tons of respect for everybody. But just going out there and attack, just not. It makes me real sad, because I hate attacking people. I'm one of those guys that if I see a meme, I find it funny. Yeah, I'll laugh at it. I'll probably join. Probably throw a little bit of salt just to joke around, because I like to joke around a little bit. But just going, for you to you, and going on a hate thing, that's just not nice. And so really, if like I said, I've been off this weekend, and I kind of like saw what's going on. There was like a versus battle right there, something going on. I usually don't tend to sit there and read those stuff, because I really, I'm not really like, oh, I'm gonna go out there, grab my sword and go defend or something like that. Nah, like I said, just talking bad about somebody is just not. I don't find it really, really a good thing. I mean, seriously, just let people do what they do, let them be happy. And this console war stuff, okay, it's fun. If you want to make it fun, but just don't attack another person for what they want to do. Seriously, just let them be, and let them have fun. Really, just going for personal stuff is that's just not. I don't agree with that. It's gross. It's just bad. It's just bad. And like I said, I've been out for the weekend. I do not know what actually happened. I saw like a tweet, on something Jaffe said. I don't know what's going on with Jaffe, but Jaffe, man, I'm gonna tell you something. If you need to go outside, take a breather, don't take everything so personal. Really, just if you need a change, man, just do a change, because maybe if a lot of people are talking about you on how you act on everything, you probably need to sit down and talk to yourself and say, hey, let me change to a positive thing. Let me do something positive, or do some changing. I know you probably are gonna say, oh, look at this guy. This guy's saying this and that, but hey, it's always good to be a nice guy out there, man. So change. If you're gonna be the mean guy, just be the mean guy by yourself. If you got an opinion, just hold it off to yourself. Don't go out there and attack somebody else. That's how it is. That's how it is. And
yeah, I agree. I love it when a person's class rises to the top, and there is no classier person when I think of this community than Lord Cognito. Like I said, I know him personally, so I take this a little bit more personal. Again, I apologize. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I love when Boom curses. I don't like it. Because I don't like that kind of content. I'm sorry about it. I felt it just enraged. It was my super that jumped out. Sorry. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm glad that the apology was made to Cog. He deserves it. I don't think the apology was really well thought out. To me, it seemed very bland. And the fact that he's like, well, thank you for explaining to me what, how your content. Are you serious? Like, are you're going to include that in an apology, that you attack this dude's character publicly? And that's what you want to include in? Thanks for telling me how your content works. How about before berating someone's character, you watch something of theirs? Because he's been on their show. So he definitely doesn't have an excuse, because he knows who the Iron Lords are. So that to me makes it even worse, in my opinion. But enough of that, because he's not worth our time, folks. We wasted, probably 15 or 20 minutes on this knucklehead. He's not worth it. So we're going to talk games. We're going to get into why I think Lina Khan potentially could be impeached. But folks, before we get to Black Panther, which I am over the freaking moon for. I mean, listen, EA is they got a lot of stuff going on with Star Wars. They have a lot of stuff going on with Marvel. And you know what? EA turned around. They turned the ship around. Remember, they were like the evil corporation at one point. All they want to do is make money. And ever since the head of Respawn has gotten his hooks into a lot of those studios, ideologies have changed, and not only are they making really great games over at EA, they're making games that we want to play. And I want to play a Black Panther game. We're going to get into exactly the new information coming from Cliffhanger Games, which again, I've never heard of that studio. And listen, if EA trusts them, well, I guess we have to trust them too. I can't wait to hear more about it. But let me catch up with the super chats. We got a lot of them. We have 8 that popped in. I want to get to all of them. Drawn TJ drops a very generous opening $2 super chat and says, "Hey guys, everyone, please hit the like button." Brother, thank you so much for the channel support as you always do. Gerald Mack, my good brother and the best gray beard in the business, he drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I agree that he's mad at the world and probably a bit jealous. He isn't as relevant as someone like Lord Cognito. All hail the ILP. Salute the Lords." Indeed, salute those brothers, because what they do over there is nothing short of amazing. And you know what? I'm just happy that they are succeeding in what they love to do. And Cognito loves to talk about video games, so it's great to see him, him and the rest of the Lords, for that matter, see the success that they ultimately deserve. John TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "I'm glad Jaffe is no longer in the gaming industry. Sure, he made Twisted Metal and God of War, but he is a POS." I don't disagree with you there, John TJ. Thank you. Gerald Mack drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, going after Lord Cognito is like Lina Khan going after the ABK deal. You have no case. I love it, man. That's good stuff. Raiden Blade drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, "Boom, I can't understand Jaffe. But I don't give a care. He can keep his damn apologies to himself. Jaffe has appeared on ILP twice and forgets Cog's name." Yeah, see, that to me is, look, I'm going to say this, folks. I don't have a PhD. I don't, right? But as a police officer, we are taught, we are trained to deal with situations that sometimes are just, there's no logical sense for why someone is doing something. So what they are is what we would call an EDP, which is an emotionally disturbed person, right? And it's a different way that you have to handle these. Some of these things are scary because if you're not in your right mind, people do some really terrible things. I think that the way Jaffe's behavior, and again, I'm not a doctor, I'm just saying that his erratic behavior on that show shows that there's some sort of a mental illness situation over there. I don't know whether is he angry at the world? Is he angry at the industry? Is that just his personality? I don't know. I'm not going to sit him on a chair and diagnose him. I don't have a PhD, but I can tell you that there's something there, because no one goes from hot to cold the way he did on that show for no reason. So he maybe he needs help. He should ask for it. He should honestly ask for it. Again, I don't have a PhD, so I don't know for sure, but I can tell you that maybe he does need some sort of mental help, because him attacking Cognito and forgetting his name. You've been on this show twice. You know who the Iron Lords are. Everyone who knows who the Iron Lords are, right? So I don't know. Sarcastic. Oh no, hold on. We got Dean Rivera. Dean, what's going on, brother? Welcome and thank you for the very generous $5 super chat. It says Xbox has big time executives that engage with the community and love doing it. PlayStation doesn't have that, and I guess some people try to get salty over it. I mean, look, what Microsoft does isn't an act. You know what I'm saying? They're not engaging with us as a community because they want kudos. They're still in third place, and they've been in third place for decades. So they're doing this because the people in charge actually are community-based people. Look at Sarah Bond. She's a C-level executive, and she's following me. She retweets some of my stuff. She talks to everyone. If you tweeted her, "Hey, go look at this movie for you and the kids," she'll answer you. How many PlayStation executives are doing that? How many Nintendo executives are doing that? And and again, Aaron Greenberg, one of the most generous human beings you could ever possibly want to grab a sandwich with. Right? I met him in 2019. Guys, aces, man, just complete aces. And the ultimate picture of this is Phil Spencer, who actually plays destiny with people in the community, and not even any randos. He just, he's I'm gonna jump in. Yeah, come on, and you could talk to him like you're talking to me right now. Who freaking does that? No one does that. And Xbox doesn't flaunt it. You don't see them doing advertising. Look, we are here for the community. They just do, and people are jealous of that. And if you are, you got problems, man. I mean, honestly, that if you are one of these people that are saying anyone that interacts with the community it's a bad thing, man, I don't. You need to leave the community forthwith because I don't know what the heck you're talking about. That's just crazy. Let's see. Sarcastic Taurus just a very generous $5 super chat and says, "We just saw the trailer to The Rise of Sith Boom." No, we don't want that trailer because I really do like being a good guy, man. My Mrs. Boom calls me Captain America. She really does because that's. I mean, I wish I had the super soldier serum, but I like helping people. I like being a good guy. It makes me happy to be good. I don't know. Raiden Blade drops two pounds super chats and says the first one is go after who you want, but not COG. You're insane, Jaffe. And I absolutely agree. Raiden Blade drops an additional 2 pounds super chat and says, boom, I love and respect the ILP brothers. Jaffe POS. I'm not gonna argue there. Nintendon the Otaku drops a very generous $5 super chat and says no one should be going at COG's integrity over that pick. We should be going at him for his blatant hate and bias against Nintendo. We know the truth. That's brother Nintendo. Are you kidding me? He loves his Switch. Oh my goodness. Gerald Mack, hashtag just an additional $2 which just says hashtag fact Jaffe. I mean, listen, do your research. If you're going to attack somebody, and you shouldn't do that anyway, you really shouldn't. But if you have a beef with someone, at least do your homework, man. Like, honestly, you can find anything about anybody. Just put their name in and do the research. I don't know. Atomic Customs drops a very generous $2 super chat. Atomic Customs, welcome to the program, brother, and thank you for the generosity. And Raiden Blade drops an additional 5 pounds super chat and says, PlayStation executives can't communicate or have a community because they don't have games that allow them to build a community. How jealous are the hooved ones? Probably very jealous. And shout out to your baby father, who actually, I just read his tweet when he said the same thing I said about Jaffe being disingenuous with his apology. He drops a very generous $10 super chat. And welcome back, brother. He says he was dead wrong. I told him that when he retweeted me. A lot of what Jaffe says, especially when he guests on other podcasts, is highly performative. I'm glad he's apologized. Yeah, like I said, the apologies, I mean, take it. I'm glad that Cognito accepted it. I wouldn't have, and I think that his apology was half-cocked. I really do, especially because you're apologizing to someone for your nasty behavior, and in the middle, instead of just continuing with apology and being coming from the heart, which is what you should do when you're apologizing, it's thanks for explaining to me what you do over there. Like anyone needs to explain anything to the likes of you. I'm just saying. But let's talk gaming, folks, because I think if there's one announcement that came out of left field, which this is big. It's so big it could have been on someone's stage during the the E3 week. I'm very surprised something this big wasn't like on the Keelys, because this is kind of like this to me anyway feels like a Keely announcement. Now I pulled this. This comes from marvelcomics.com. And this is the official website of Marvel. And they say new EA studio Cliffhanger Games announces upcoming title based on Marvel's Black Panther. And it says, get all of the details in the new single-player action-adventure game set to explore the vibrant world of Wakanda. And it says here, Wakanda Forever, as we celebrate the 57th anniversary of Black Panther's comic debut this July, we're thrilled to announce Cliffhanger Games, a new AAA development studio based in Seattle, is working on an original third-person single-player Black Panther game in collaboration with Marvel Games. Their mission is to build an expansive and reactive world that empowers players to experience what it's like to take on the mantle of Wakanda's protector, the Black Panther. And this comes the way of led by Kevin Stevens. Now he's a part of Monolith Productions, or was from Monolith Productions. Cliffhanger has already brought together accomplished talent with leaders from critically acclaimed and innovative games in the action adventure genre, from Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, along with veterans of top franchises including Halo Infinite, God of War, Call of Duty, and others. And here is a quote from Kevin Stevens. He says this: "We are dedicated to delivering fans a definitive and authentic Black Panther experience, giving them more agency and control over their narrative than they have ever experienced in a story-driven video game. Wakanda is a rich superhero sandbox, and our mission is to develop an epic world for players who love the Black Panther and want to explore the world of Wakanda as much as we do." I mean, are you freaking kidding me? What I am starting to see here, and we have to thank Insomniac Games. Now, I know this is not a superhero game's first rodeo. Some of the best Spider-Man games were like way back in like the PlayStation 1 era, right? Like they were really fantastic Spider-Man games. But if we are talking modern console gaming, which is really, really where I want to focus on, we have to tip our caps to the absolutely astounding team at Insomniac Games, because Spider-Man 2018, I think, is going to be responsible for what we get in the future. Obviously, we saw what happened with Crystal Dynamics and Avengers, and ultimately, Avengers was marred by some very poor decisions in regards to microtransactions. Story was dope, and their Black Panther DLC, which I have yet to play, according to Keasante, was brilliant. So I definitely want to get to that. The story game, the actual story of the game, was pretty fantastic. It just got covered by the shenanigans, and it didn't help that the Spider-Man DLC was only on PlayStation. I mean, that was also another black eye for that. The team didn't like it, but Sony, did that. And of course, if you want, what have you done for me lately? And I say this with unbelievable respect. When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, it probably should have been my game of the year. If you have not played that game, you should definitely go pick it up. You could probably pick it up for like $10 or $15. What an outstanding, unbelievable, outstanding game. The writing is so good, folks. It's James Gunn level good. That's how good that is. And now we know we have Black Panther on the horizon. Take all the time you need, folks. Get this right. I cannot wait to play. Web Dave. This is great. What a great way to wake up to a Monday. New Black Panther game announced. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good for sure. Yep, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's an amazing character, and it's I wish it was followed by exclusively to Xbox, but as long as it's multi-plat, that's cool. I'm for that for sure. In fact, it's such a iconic character, and it really, especially the first movie, really hit a chord with the community that it really deserves to be everywhere. So I hope that it makes it to as many platforms as possible, because I think it's something that the representation of a superhero like that is good for all of us. So I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to play it. I'll work out a deal with Game Pass. Let's get it on there.
I would like. Well, look. Again, Game Pass. We don't know. I mean, obviously, who's to say that Microsoft doesn't do a marketing deal? Because if you're going to market anybody, Black Panther's who you're gonna go with. I love it. I mean, it's possible, right? It's definitely possible. I know some people are saying it's probably in Productions. Yeah, I mean, obviously they just announced it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we have storyboard artwork yet. This game is not going to be. It's not going to come out for a couple of years, at least 4, maybe even 5. But who cares? I mean, there's so many games to play. It's just crazy anyway. But I like what you're putting down, Dave. Listen, let's bring in Fuzzy Belvedere. Fuzzy, this is again another really nice announcement to wake up on the morning. Obviously, the announcement that we all want, we did not get, which of course is that there's no preliminary injunction and Microsoft is going to close it over the FTC and get this deal done. That's what we really wanted. But I got to be honest with you. Coming off the heels of a great film in Wakanda Forever, and obviously we're still all reeling at the death of Chadwick. I mean, it still brings a tear to my eye. Honestly, it really does. I really liked him as an actor, but him as a person was just beautiful. He's just a beautiful person. This is wonderful. Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, I actually only thought that there was one Black Panther game being made. And there was the one by Skydance where it's going to be like Captain America and Black Panther. And I was looking forward to that one, even though Skydance is more so known for movies, more so than gaming, but was really anxiously awaiting, further details on that game. I think we learned about that in D22 last year, but I had no idea. And I guess a few people in the community had kind of seen some, news about like the formation of this studio under EA and everything, with the guy that one of the leads from Monolith, the Nemesis system and everything, although they have a patent on that, but they're over there starting a new studio under EA, and that it's been in the works for probably a year now, give or take. So I guess this is more of an official announcement where they've probably moved past the storyboarding aspect, and they're probably working on like the base build as far as the world itself and the mechanics and things like that. So, hopefully within the next 5 or within the next 4 years, it'll probably be a late gen release for this gen of console. But man, I wish there were more superhero games, and this one is definitely on the top of my list for ones that needs a game or full story. Like we had the DLC for the Avengers, which was pretty cool, but to have a full-on game would be even better. And I'm glad that they've actually released the news or opened up the news about this, and keep an eye out for pretty much the next few years until it's released. But man, it's like that dream that we've wanted for a lot of more superhero games, more than just Spider-Man. And we know we got Wolverine coming. I think EA is jumping in with Marvel big time because they have an Iron Man game that they've been working on as well. Yeah. So I hope this is a start of something that EA continues to do. And I have pretty good confidence in the Iron Man one if they use the Anthem mechanics, but with Black Panther, definitely looking forward to see what type of combat and acrobatics and things like that they'll have incorporated in it. So definitely looking forward to it. But man, awesome news to wake up to this morning.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, again, if you're a superhero fan, I am, and obviously. We have a lot on the horizon. Wolverine, I totally forgot about. My God, that's also Insomniac. That's probably going to be really dope. And obviously, the Iron Man game was announced. We don't know how that's going to be, but it's by EA, who happens to own the Anthem mechanics. Which, if anyone played that game, the first thing anyone ever said is, "My God, this would be a great Iron Man game," right? So. Yep. They have the flight mechanics down, the jumping off and landing. So I would imagine that the Iron Man game is going to be pretty dope as well. But this to me is great news because I do really, really like the Black Panther, and I can't wait to see how the world building. It sounds like it could potentially exclusively be in Wakanda. If in fact that's the case, Wakanda is freaking huge, man. So. Maybe we get Claw. Maybe we get some other Avengers in there. Who knows? All I know is that I'm excited. And again, great news to wake up to. Crazy Lou Gaming, let's get your hot take on the announcement of Cliffhanger Studios, a new studio, AAA, by the way, working exclusively with EA. And you're going to bring us Black Panther, man. Talk about it.
Man, I would say something. When I heard that the guys from Middle Earth are working on this game, oh my God. I mean, I'm going to tell you, this, for me, one of the best sword fighting games out of last generation. And I could pop in the CD right now and last just hours running into the forts and fighting and just chopping all those orcs up is Shadow of Mordor. I love the combat system on that game. For me, it's the best. I have not seen a game that can actually match it. Not seriously, I have not seen one. Not seen one, especially the way it works, the way it upgrades everything of that game. Oof, I can just talk about it for hours. But and hearing that they are working on a Black Panther game, that's just triples my excitement. So happy that we're getting a Black Panther game. And man, he deserves it. They deserve, I mean, really, he deserves to get his own game. Seriously, super excited about it when I read the news, super happy about it because Jesus, I mean, this is going to be a game I'm going to play a lot. And I hope it is, like you said, I hope it's in Wakanda. I hope, we got to do like some cool missions, get some new suits, get some new claws, get some cool weapons. Oh man, I mean, whoo, hearing about it really made me happy today. Super happy that it's working. Not only that, one of the best teams are working on that game, and that game is actually gonna release. That is just freaking awesome. Super happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, every time they announce a new game, my backlog just screams in pain because I have to figure out what to freaking play. Like right now, I just finished the winter season update for Halo Infinite. I have officially done everything, every battle pass in Halo Infinite to date. Everything is done. I loved every second of it. So now I'm back to Hogwarts. Black Harry Potter, are you there, sir? I'm back to what is going to be my top 3. I don't know if it's going to be my game of the year, but it's still hanging in there because I started playing like last night because my brother Neo Mental was like, he finally cracked it open and now he's addicted like crack cocaine. He can't stop playing it. And I was like, all right, you know what? Now you've encouraged me to get back to it. And my God, that game is so good. It is gorgeous to look at. So I'm back playing that. And as soon as I'm done beating that game, I think I'm probably around 10 or 15 hours from beating it. Hit level 34. I'm going to get back to Jedi Survivor, which I got about 6 hours into, and I was like, these bugs, they're killing me. So those are my next 2 games. I want to beat these 2 games. That's what I'm going to play exclusively for quite some time, at least until Starfield. And then after that, nothing is going to matter except for Starfield because, damn, I cannot wait to hunt and do some bounty hunting and kill a whole bunch of pirates because that's what I'm going to do. Mr. Lawman, yes, that is me. All right, listen. Let's get into this Lina Khan shenanigans, folks. Because look, again, this isn't a witch hunt. This isn't because she's a female. This isn't because it has nothing to do with that. If anyone says that about me, you're a knucklehead. I don't roll that way. I am talking about it as a tax-paying American citizen who does not like to see our monies be wasted and thrown to the curb because of someone's ridiculous ideology. A classroom ideology, mind you. Well, it turns out, now again, this comes the story I pulled from the Washington Examiner. It was written by Carl Szabo. It was posted this morning, and according to the head title is Lina Khan Goes to Congress, and the article says this, folks. Federal Trade Commission Chairwoman Lina Khan is set to testify before the U.S. House of Committee on Thursday, which is in a couple of days. Khan, a name now synonymous with competent for constitutional norms, has refused to turn over documents to Congress. This act echoes the FBI Director Christopher Wray and places Khan under the shadow of potential contempt of Congress charges. These actions are not merely political jousting, but have significant implications for all Americans. Now, what those documents are, I honestly do not know. But I can say that she is currently being investigated by Congress for abuse of authority, abuse of power, and she's being investigated by both sides, both Republicans and Democrats. This new story is troubling because obviously she has said publicly, ladies and gentlemen, that she does not care about going and suing someone and losing in court. According to her, they have the ability to sue, and they're just going to sue. And it turns out, and I only learned this thanks to Everborn Saga, who told me a couple of, I would say maybe about a month ago, before the Activision and Microsoft pressed the issue on closing over the FTC, which forced them to go to federal court. They had changed the rules on what power the judge overseeing the current case could have on a Friday evening at 4:30, right before closing. They changed the law where they don't have to listen to his. They can take his opinion into account, disregard that said opinion, and then of course go to hold up the acquisition for years to come by sending it to another judge. Obviously, that's abusive authority. That's abusive power. And she's ultimately either going to resign or be impeached. There's just no doubt about it. There's too many people gunning for her right now, and it's rightfully deserved. I'm sorry to say. I want to get Fuzzy's hot take on this. Again, she's going to Congress on Thursday. This is now the second time she's going to be grilled, if you will. There's a lot of questions, and I still hope that when this deal is done, and maybe Microsoft is like, yeah, listen, we got the deal done, we don't care. But I think that she needs to be investigated because there are still thoughts and claims over potential collusion with the CMA, right? Obviously, we saw that the head of the CMA just sent a letter that was requested by the UK government regarding the conversations that she had with Lina Khan. So this might actually be a thing. Collusion is not. I'm not saying it just because I like saying the word collusion. There actually may be something here.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's being called to the carpet in Congress, and now she's refusing to present documents. I don't know if I want to be her right now.
You would think she got the message with the original hearings when they were asking for a bigger budget. And they were asking for these documents, and she kind of played it off as when we get around to it. And the one Congress lady was like, "No, when we request them, we expect them," kind of thing. I had this, it's probably a tinfoil hat theory, but I think that there are some people in the FTC that are tired of the shenanigans as far as it's not meeting the mission statement of what the authority was set to do. And that is to protect the consumer from, corporations taking advantage, whether it be through privacy issues or financial means or things along those lines. And she seems to be just focused on the big tech industry as far as the billions of dollars involved, which I applaud her for having at least some goal, but the approach where there's like a zero sum, there's no coming to the table for negotiations. That's a little, I won't say absurd, but it's definitely off kilter as far as trying to get things accomplished. At least even in Washington, you have to at least negotiate. But when it came down to the previous hearing, they talked about the experts and advisors that they paid. And I would like to see some of these receipts, because anybody that gave them the advice that they did in reference to this case and brought up things like do you need a Windows key for, micro or Xbox games or anything like that? Obviously, they weren't the experts that they really needed. And if they paid them anything more than $1, they overpaid. So it seems to me maybe there are some people within the FTC that kind of sabotaged it from the inside, just because there's a lot of things that you would think after research and having interns or people that are tasked to do the research would have found maybe a little bit better case or things to point out. Instead, it seems like they read Sony's notes, copied their homework, and brought that into court, and that's as far as it went. And that being said, there needs to be some form of investigation, because if you're bringing 7 cases to court and losing each one of them, and this is at the taxpayer's expense, and you're not benefiting the taxpayer in any way as far as protecting the consumer, you're just going on with this agenda that you want to change the laws on the books without necessarily getting the people that make the laws or change the laws involved, it just seems like a futile battle at that point. Like it would be like somebody constantly running into a brick wall, hoping that maybe the construction company will take the wall down. I mean, or maybe they'll eventually knock the wall down, but you can't run into it head on. Your better bet is to ask them, hey, can you move the wall? Or why does the wall have to be here? Or could you put a cutout? No. Instead of getting Congress involved or working with politicians in that regard, no, she's going to take it to court and lose, 7 cases now, and cost us millions of dollars, waste the time of personnel, where it just feels like this was a misaligned strategy from get-go. And this investigation hopefully will come down to the bottom of it, although with any government investigation there's always more tax dollars spent and more time wasted to some extent. But hopefully this will either, one, cause her to rethink her approach on things and be less likely to bring cases to court where they know they don't have a chance at winning, or maybe this will start the process in getting her replaced for someone that is going to be more focused on the consumer and things like I always say, if you're going to focus on big tech companies, focus on the cable companies. What, like the fact that in most parts of America, unlike even Canada, and I only know this because I've had friends and family
and they
there,
can rake you over the coals, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like you only have maybe 2 choices at max. In a lot of cases, only 1 choice for that region. And it's like they purposely quartered off certain sections where, all right, we have this market, you can have that market. As far as the cable companies are concerned, no more a la carte stuff. I mean, some areas are trying it, but it's like 5 times more than what it's in Canada. And typically things cost more in Canada because there's other taxes involved in those fees and stuff. So why is our a la carte cable like 5 times higher in comparison? Why is a la carte cable here not even really, a viable thing? But, everybody looks the other way when cable companies are involved, or the phone companies and things along those lines, or even the electric companies now. Like you would think that those would be more consumer targeted or consumer focused avenues or industries to focus on. No, we're going to focus on video games because, that's entertainment and it's frivolous spending, I guess. So, yeah, we need to have our hand out for that, as opposed to the billions and trillions of dollars involved in the other industries where they, make backdoor deals and look the other way as far as, regions that are covered or served, or customers being protected or raked over the coals. But I've rambled enough. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, listen, you make a great point, Dave. I want to read a couple excerpts here to kind of paint the picture of exactly who Lina Khan is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you understand that this is not a witch hunt for Mr. BoomStick XL. According to the author, the FTC is one of the most powerful agencies in the country, holding the authority to govern every single business in the nation. A once widely respected bipartisan commission, it is now run by Democrats after Khan's corruption drove all Republican commissioners to leave. But the consequences of Khan's actions extend far beyond mere congressional subpoenas, political feuds, or interagency bureaucracy. They're affecting the daily lives of consumers and businesses, which is the truth. But this is where it gets crazy, folks. And this is how you got to know who you're dealing with. He says, put simply, Khan's policies hurt our pocketbooks. Before her tenure at the FTC, she was a professor. Folks, I don't know whether you know that or she wasn't. She was a professor. She became famous for writing a paper where she complained that Amazon's prices were too low. Think about that for a second, folks. Their prices were too low. So let me get this straight, Mrs. Khan. I shop at Walmart because a box of cereal there is under $4, but if I go to Stop and Shop, it's $7. Now, I'm on a pension, right? So I have to manage my money correctly. So I'm going to go to Walmart. I quite frankly like Walmart. Is what she's suggesting okay for the average consumer right here to pay $7 for a box of cereal, or under $4 at Walmart? That to me is bonkers. And again, her whole ideology is not real world based. It is based on classroom antics. And she was not in government before she was given this position by the president. And she is effing up left, right, and center. So the fact that she's refusing to give documents to Congress tells me if you have nothing to hide, folks, what are we hiding from? Can someone tell me what would you hide if you have nothing to hide? I'm just saying, Dave. We'll talk about it, brother.
Yeah, and sorry, I had to do it. Okay, so her position that she's in, she was brought in is basically a political hit person. That is her goal. She doesn't care about the consumer. She doesn't care if she loses. She's clearly said that because her mandate comes from the president. Sorry if people don't want to, about politics, but that's what he wants. He wants to get in control of big tech because he wants to control big tech in the Democratic Party. It's as clear and as simple as that as to why they're doing what they're doing. And they feel like if they go after these big companies, right or wrong, they don't care, then they're going to be enough of a thorn in their side to where they're going to come play ball with that party that's in power. And I know it's, but what about this? And what about, to her, none of that matters. Her reputation doesn't matter because she's been picked by the president to do this job. And the job she's doing for him and the party, she's doing very well because she's, they're dragging her heels. They're causing chaos and delays because that's what they want to do. I mean, I know, it's not very colorful, not very pretty, not very insightful. It seems like, but to me, it's really that clear and cut and dry from my perspective. That's what she's doing, is that she's doing basically the president / Democratic Party's bidding because they want control over big tech. They want big tech in control because big tech in control can also control a lot of the narratives, which we've found out once Elon bought Twitter, and a lot of things came out that they didn't want you all to know. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is the facts. So that it just basically, they want the controlling power, and that's what dictatorships. That's what corrupt governments do, and unfortunately, in America, that's kind of where we're at right now until we take it back. So, sorry if my hat turned a little red today. But
no, I mean, listen, listen. The only reason why we're talking about it because it does involve. I hate politics, folks.
Yeah,
politics
me too.
are gross.
Yep.
I don't like talking about them, but because this directly involves ABK, I figured it'd be worthy of a conversation because, like I said, ultimately the request of the documents, I'm sure, have a lot to do with what went on with the CMA. It just so happens that the UK government had requested from the head of the CMA a response to, hey, you had all these meetings. You said you didn't take these meetings, but now you did take the meetings. What exactly is happening? Again, it screams collusion over a video game acquisition. I just find it so ridiculous. It to me, it's just dumb. Ultimately,
one last thing I want to say, Boom. I'm sorry because of the super chat you're going to have coming up here in a little bit, but my manga, whatever the hell that crap is. I am a Republican. I do not like Trump, but his policies put America in a better place than they are right now. So that's all I have to say about that. No more political talk from me.
Yeah. Well, folks, have your opinions. Opinions. Yep. They're like a-holes. Everyone has one. And sometimes
and I'm a big asshole.
No. It is what it is. We don't normally. We're gonna get back to video games talk, but
sorry.
Like I said, to me, it's important to bring this up because it affects ABK, and what it ultimately will do. And see, that's the thing, is affect any business in gaming moving forward. I think the one takeaway, whether Microsoft gets it or they don't, is thanks to Sony and their pissing and moaning, they have now taken a spotlight from U.S. governments, or not just U.S. governments around the world, and put it on gaming when it didn't have to be that way. And that is all because of Jim Ryan and SIE. So ultimately, the problem is, even if Microsoft gets this done by the miracle, and of course it shouldn't be a miracle because it's the truth, right? They have all of the information that was provided by all of their witnesses. There's nothing illegal about this case. It is Sony is going to be fine for years. They just have to be better. So I don't see what the problem is, but ultimately, this is going to affect acquisitions from everyone moving forward. And that is all stemmed thanks to Jim Ryan and SIE complaining about this deal, because they were the loudest and they put the crosshairs on Microsoft's back. And that's why we are where we are. And they got the kind ear of the CMA, which are a bunch of knuckleheads over there, and they got even more knuckleheads over in the FTC. Again, colluding with one another to get a deal blocked that's about video games. Pretty crazy when you consider what Fuzzy Belvedere said about how cable companies and power companies are raking people over the coals, and we have to do nothing but pay. Think about that for a hot second. Pretty ridiculous. So let's move on to Crazy Lou Gaming. Get your hot take on this. I'm going to get back to, of course, talking about gaming, because that's what we do. We have to get into Avowed. We have to get into Clockwork Revolution. New information on both. They're small, but they're still worthy of a conversation. We're going to get into that momentarily. Let's get your hot take on Lina Khan shenanigans. I know it doesn't affect you because obviously you're in the Dominican Republic, but from an outside point of view, I'm interested to get your hot take on what's going on.
Well, here's the thing, though, Boo. I mean, life right now is hard. It's harder than ever. That's the truth. I mean, everything is more expensive. Prices have gone sky high and all this stuff. And we're talking about a video game company that's actually acquiring another company, which in the near future, not now, we're going to get probably Call of Duty in Game Pass. We're going to get a bunch of games in Game Pass, which at the end of the day, us as subscribers, right, we're going to save money. I mean, if we want to buy, we can buy because we're going to have the option. Or we can play it, just leave it there, or later on buy it and have it part of our digital collection. Why not? You know, it's good, because that's the thing, though. That's what we want. We always want and that's the word that it seems like Lina Khan seems to be forgetting, and the word is options. All of us are always looking for is options. That's what we look for all the time, because, hey, we want to play this game. We want to buy this game. Oh, damn, it's $70. But I'm going to tell you something. $70 is $70. For me, it's 4,000 pesos, 4,500 pesos, right? For you guys, it's $70. So for me to spend those 4,000 pesos, I have to sit down and think about it. Oh, man, what am I going to do? And when I see it drop on Game Pass, I'm like, oh, wow, it's good. I'm happy. I'm saving money. And later on, you know, when it drops down to a price, I can probably get it. And that's the thing that we want. We want options. Yeah. We don't want to stick to this whole $70 thing deal, because, hey, it's like what Mr. Webb Dave said. It's gonna be pretty much like and the word is is it a dictatorship, right? Oh, these consoles are like, oh, not a dictatorship, like oh man, I don't know how to say the word, but it's like, oh yeah, all we have is the $70 option on all these consoles. We don't want that. We want to look for ways on how to save. And her, like, you know, I read the article, like she was saying on Amazon on how they drop the prices. Hey, that's the way their company works. If they want to drop prices. It's called competition now. And we need that. We need these companies to compete. Why do we need it? Because, hey, if I'm going to go buy, let's say, like you said, Boom, a water bottle. Let's say on Amazon I can find it for $2. But if I go to Walmart and it costs $5, where am I going to get it? I'm going to get it in Walmart because I'm saving $3. And that's what I want. I want to find options on where I need to save. So that's the thing that she seems to be forgetting. She needs to understand that for us consumers, we want options. And if she's like closing down, like, oh, it's going to affect this company, it's going to affect that company, let it affect them. Because we want these companies to compete, to be better. I mean, all of us sit here and we talk for hours on how we want Sony to be the way it was, like on how we want them to bring back Soulcom, on how we want to bring back this, and how we want to bring back another game, right? If Sony doesn't come back to the way it was, because right now, I'm gonna be honest, they're doing pretty much the same thing. We're getting Horizon Forbidden West 3, not Forbidden West. We're getting a new Horizon, Last of Us 3. They're grabbing old games and bringing them back. You know, okay, if you guys like that, cool. But I want to see Sony, you know, to bring not only bring back, you know, like those old games on for PlayStation 4. I want them to go back to the PS2 era and bring back a bunch of their old games and bring them new, bring them fresh, and bring us for us to play. And not only that, give us an option. Give us an option too. Like, for example, you guys got your PS Plus, good, and like how the judge said, why don't you just make your why don't they just make the PS Plus kind of like the Game Pass, you know? Because hey, if that happens, I'm telling you, even right now, I'll probably get jumped by fanboys and say, "Oh, look at this guy saying this," and man, I don't care what you guys say, but hey, if I love y'all, but I don't care what you guys say, because I'm gonna save money. If I'm gonna save money, heck yeah, I'll pay that Plus for $120. Heck yeah, I'll pay. It can cost $200. But if they're releasing 4 games by the end of the year on the price
there goes your money.
70,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm saving money. I'm saving money. And that's the whole point. That's what we want to do nowadays. We want to save money because, like you said, everything has gone up. So yeah, Lina Khan, give us those options. Give us this. And she's in trouble because she's not giving documents. That's not good on her side either. Because seriously, be an open book. Be an open book. Don't be afraid. If you give all your stuff over there, and if you're doing something wrong, then hey, somebody's going to take your job. That's the truth. Somebody's going to take your job, and somebody's going to say, hey, goodbye, Lina Khan. But you can't be the way you are. I mean, you can't be blocking this because you have a feeling that this company might be affected or this. Why do you care? Let them be affected, because at the end of the day, it's us you should worry about. It's us that we are paying our money, and that we work really freaking hard for it. And we want to find a way to save and in order to supply these companies, right? In order to get, not as a supplier, in order to buy their games and to buy their stuff, you know? So let us have options. So yeah, sorry, Lina, you're in trouble because you're not doing your job right. I hope that you're not in such a major trouble that, you know, you probably go to jail or anything. I hope not, because I don't desire nothing bad for anybody. But if you're doing your job wrong, really, somebody's just going to take forward and take your step. But give us those options, because we want that.
Absolutely. Options are great for consumers. And, you know, again, say what you want about Game Pass. You can call it, you know, I've heard people say some stupid shit like welfare pass. I've heard that, which is just disgusting. I've heard people say that, you know, it's cannon fodder for games. Oh, okay. If you think so, sure. But if Sony isn't held in check by having a Game Pass out there, please, could someone confirm for me that the launch of the next consoles, they're not going to make their games $80 instead of $70? Because who's going to stop them?
Boom.
Who is going to stop
them? I got a question for you. This is a good question. This is actually a good question. If you have a PlayStation, right? Aren't you mad? I mean, guys, aren't you mad that, for example, if Xbox goes out there and gets an exclusive content for themselves? Wouldn't you be mad and be like, oh my God, I wish I had that on PlayStation? I mean, wouldn't you be mad on that side too?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I would be mad too. Why does Sony always have to like pretty much grab everything? I understand it's a way to compete, and that's what Sony's scared of. Sony's scared of that Xbox is gonna go up, and more developers are gonna have more talks with them, and they're gonna have. Then that's another thing. Developers are gonna have more options to negotiate. When Sony probably said, "Hey, this is how it is. This is how it's gonna go. If you don't like it, then bye bye." Now you got Xbox going up. It's going to give developers more options too. So seriously, I will be mad every time I see like an exclusive content going over on one side. I hate when that happens. I want it to be for everybody. I don't want to go out there and get a console just to get a super magic wand that probably like blows up somebody. I don't want that, you know. I want it to be everywhere. All right. Oh yeah, I have to wait a year like they do with Call of Duty. No wonder Call of Duty sells tons in PlayStation, because why? They already got their exclusive content over there, and when the year comes around, guess what happens? A new Call of Duty comes out, and why the heck am I going to go back and play that?
Exactly.
You know, that's the thing. So seriously, let them compete.
Look, at the end of the day, it's all about competition. I don't think that the way that Sony's doing business is good for gaming. I think that they are exactly who we thought that they were. And if they had it their way, they'd make their games $90 in next gen. They absolutely would. But again, I don't want to harp on that, folks. We're going to run a little later today because obviously we had a topic to open up the show that originally wasn't there. So we're going to get to Avowed. We're going to get to Clockwork. We're going to talk about that right now. But I do want to catch up on Super Chats. We have the Silver Shroud, drops a very generous $5 Super Chat and says, Jeff's a clown. He purposely says stuff to trigger Xbox community to get reactions and views for his YouTube channel. Ignore him. Yeah, I wouldn't listen to any of his stuff anyway. So, yeah, thank you for the Super Chat, brother. Chubby Big Toe, welcome to the program, brother. He drops a very generous $5 Super Chat and says, kill that politicals talk, Web Dave. I'm a liberal and hate the FTC, but stop with the MAGA talk. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's entitled to his opinion. You're entitled to yours. We don't do politics very often. I'm sorry I even brought it up because obviously I don't want to separate the community. Politics is filthy, and both parties suck. That's the truth. They both suck. Some have, ideologies and things in place that benefit us as taxpayers, but ultimately they're all for themselves. I mean, I hate to say that they really are. I have very few politicians I respect. I have a few, but. Yeah, it is what it is, dude. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $5 from Jen says, I agree with you, Web Dave. It's all a ploy to get Democrats elected in 2024, and that's wrong. And Trump did have good policies. I mean, listen, I'm not the biggest Trumpster, man. That guy's a racist piece of shit. I'm sorry. He really is. I'm sorry to curse again. I did not. His antics are just of a giant child with a big magnifying glass. I'm not a fan of the way some of his policies were good, but the way he conducted himself was just awful. Just an awful rich person that became president. I don't know what else to say. But Silent Cypher drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, it's not that Lina doesn't realize the issues. It's that she just doesn't care. She just wants the power, wants to feel special, not responsible. I mean, I hope that's not the case, dude, because if it's a power trip thing, then they definitely put the wrong person in a position. You got to remember, not saying she's not qualified. She has the paper, right? She has the documentation. She has the schooling, not taking that away from her. I'm not saying even her ideologies are wrong. Her ideologies to clamp down on big business is sound, but there's also supposed to be a part 2 to that. We're supposed to matter, right? It's supposed to be, we're going to make sure that big business doesn't beat down on the consumers. But every time you hear her speak, we're never in that conversation. To me, that's wacky. And that's what happens when you hire someone that was a teacher and you ask them to run an organization that is a major part of how America runs. I don't know so much about that. But again, that's the end of that. Mental 9R drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, at the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, games were $60 in Canada. Now they're $90. That's a 50% increase in one console generation here in Canada. That's why we need things like Game Pass and PlayStation Premium. I 1,000% agree. I think that games, to me, my ultimate ideology, my picture of how I would want things to get done is Game Pass. I think is the catalyst of how all of these publishers need to go, Nintendo and PlayStation alike. I think that, and I agree with Crazy Lou. Even if Sony's yearly subscription service was, it's right now it's $120. You get old games in there, and I always thought that PlayStation players don't like old games, right? So that's what we're getting. Because I say because I paid my $120 in January, and I'm good until January of 2024. But I have not used it. To me, I wasted my money because outside of Stray last year, there was nothing. Literally, I got it for Stray because I was going to buy the game. I was like, you know what? Let me upgrade for the $43 or whatever it is Sony was telling me to upgrade. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're going to get some new stuff this year. They haven't gotten nothing, man. They really haven't. So it sucks. I'd love to see them go day and date, even if they charged more. let's say, for instance, they went to $180 a year. If you're telling me that I'm going to get 2 to 4 AAA bombs from Sony's first party, yeah, I'll pay the $180 because if you do the math, 76.43 here in New Rochelle, New York, times 4, well, just do the math. It would be worth it. And if you could throw an indie game or 3 in there and maybe a second party deal in there, then it's definitely worth $180. I'll definitely pay. And Nintendo's the same way. Nintendo's games, their first $70 game was Zelda. I would imagine they're going to continue that trend. It would be pretty dope if they had a service that gave you games day and date. They do offer, and it's not a service, but if you go to the website, every now and again they offer these vouchers. You buy 2 of them for $100 and you pick any game on the list. And that's how I got Zelda. So I didn't spend $70 on Zelda. I paid $50 because I bought the $100 coupon. I picked Pikmin 4. I picked Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I was very happy because I got both games for $100. So they do offer a deal, not so much like Game Pass, but I really think that this is the way the future of gaming is, paying a monthly subscription like we do for Netflix and for Disney Plus and whatever you watch your shows on. If the content is there, you'll gladly pay the whatever per month. Gaming's a little different because games are expensive to make. I don't know. We also have the Chubby Big Toe drops an additional $2 of chat and says, I agree, both parties suck. Well, there you go. Thank you for that, brother. The Silver Shroud drops an additional $5 super chat and says, D-Batch revealed on his video how Sony acquired multiple studios in the early 90s and even acquired a publisher. Yeah, Psygnosis was dope, dude. I loved almost every one of their games. Not organic at all. Yeah, they're full of ass. There's nothing organic about SIE. Let me tell you, nothing at all. We also have Calorie drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, PlayStation Plus sucks. How is GT7 not on there 1 year later? Yeah, I will play it if it's in the service. I will not play it out of the service, which is, to me, is ridiculous that it's not in there. I don't know. And Chubby Big Toe drops a very additional $2 super chat and says, David Jaffe lost a fan today. Shock jock attempt. Yeah, it's gross. He attacked the wrong one, man. The community came out and did what we're supposed to do as community members. We circled the wagons around Mr. Cognito, who deserves it that and 10 times over because he is a gentleman and a scholar. But listen, guys, we got to talk. We got to talk about 2 games. Now, look, if there's one thing that we learned, folks, from this past June, and even if you are a PlayStation dude or duet, even if you're just a Nintendo guy or gal, you got to tip your cap to Microsoft. Now, again, if there's one big criticism that we've been all waiting for them to curb stomp, is their first party output. And obviously we saw a lot of really good stuff. Like, honestly, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And we're going to get, and I think that the train of excitement is going to start this September with Starfield. Like I said, I'm saying this, take it to the bank if you want. If not, no problem. There's another bank around the corner. I think that the Redfall situation will be the last time that ever happens again. Now, maybe that's more of a wish than a confirmation, but in my heart, I believe that. And there are 2 games, folks, that are being released that I think are going to change hearts and minds, not only in the gaming community, but I actually think that we're going to get to a point where Xbox is releasing so many bangers that even the filthy press is going to have to bend the knee and be like, yeah, we got to give them credit. 2 of those games are what we're going to talk about right now. Now, first of all, good friend of the community, I'd even say great friend of the community, Clobriel, actually posted some information. And again, it's not a lot of information because we don't know a whole lot of Avowed outside of what they showed us. He put first-person combat is a huge focus in Avowed. You will have swords, shields, pistols, magical spells, and more at your disposal, including the ability to dual wield, which I didn't know. So that's why I was like, well, we definitely got to talk about this. But I kind of want to bring this back to one of my most anticipated games. I mean, who in the chat, raise your hand, is a fan of BioShock? Now, I know all three were phenomenal, but BioShock 1 is masterclass. That's Ken Levine at his absolute greatest brilliance. And I can go and put that game on now, and every time I try to play it at least once a year. It's like one of those games that you just don't mind going back to, and the game is still gorgeous. It's still, and what's crazy is that game is old AF, and it plays like a modern first-person shooter. That game is crazy old, and it is a masterclass achievement by that team. I think Clockwork Revolution is going to fall in the same category. And we have learned, thanks to, where to pull the story, gamingbolt.com. This was posted by Ravi Sheena, or Shiha. It was posted today, as a matter of fact. And it says, Clockwork Revolution director says it combines Arcanium and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines as a way to tell this story, obviously in first person. Now, I don't know what Arcanium is. Is that a PC game? I have no idea. I know Vampire the Masquerade, what that is, Bloodlines. I know that's apparently like a big thing. According to the article, inXile's Chad Moore promises deep world building, compelling narrative, crunchy RPG systems. I don't know what that is. Crunchy RPG systems, engaging gameplay, and a massive reactivity. Let's see what he had to say. Now, on Twitter, according to the story, folks, director Chad Moore said it would offer deep world building. Okay, so I just read that. Yes. So he also added to that, and it consistently describes it as a love child of Arcanium, of Steamworks, and Magic Obscura, and Magic and the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Moore has worked on both titles, acclaimed for their storytelling and reactivity, with decisions affecting the role-playing experience. According to the story, they say they also offer a strong degree of freedom in building your character and playing how you want. Combining both into a game like Clockwork Revolution certainly increases the expectations on this. We'll have to wait and see how it delivers. Listen, let's bring in Fuzzy Belvedere on this. These are two games that I really, really think that are close. Mm-hmm. Now, Clockwork looked like really done. Like I think I don't know, man. I mean, is there a world that next year we get this and Avowed? I mean, could that actually happen?
I think it's possible. I'm more leaning towards Avowed being the closer of the two. Mm-hmm. But I think Clockwork is possible. It's just that based on how large of a scale of the story that they're saying, because some of the big things about the crunchy RPG aspects of it is that you're going to have consequences for your decisions that you make. And with the time travel aspect, there might be things that you do when you go back in the past that when you fast forward back to your time changes the entire environment and things along those lines. So something to that extent tells me that it may have a lot more time to get all of those, different paths, worked out and everything and calculated. But I would say Avowed, the fact that you can do dual wielding, mix magic with like conventional weapons and things along those lines, I'm looking forward to that. Like that's like the perfect mix of like magic and weaponry where you can probably have a pistol, but then cast, spells with your other hand, freeze them, hit them with a pistol that basically shatters them into different, bits and pieces and things. But, or you can do other corrosive things to them and then chop them with a sword type of deal. But when it comes to Clockwork, just the the aspect of, well, one, it's steampunk, which has always been a cool aesthetic as far as like world in itself. But they're going to take it to the next level where, like, a lot of RPGs, even like Bethesda RPGs, yeah, you can kill some of the quest givers and things like that, and it doesn't necessarily break the story, but it may prevent you from, getting certain aspects, accomplished in the game, type of thing. But you'll still be able to finish the game. I think they're going to take it to the next level where you may have to make multiple trips back in time to fix one bad thing that you did. And it might take like 3 trips or 3 attempts to kind of rewrite the ship the way you would want it to result, or it may, the decision you make, 50 years in the past might, affect things totally different than what you anticipated. Like you kill off somebody that would be a villain, and then now their kid holds a grudge against you. So when you come back, they're hunting you down, type of thing. So I think that's where they're looking at, like, the storylines for Arcanium and Vampire's Bloodlines. So decisions have consequences. Everything you do will affect the outcome of the story and your timeline. And then on the Avowed aspect, I think that one is, it's more so, I would say, probably in its last polishing phase, and they're going to tweak some things as far as the coloring of the because it was probably more vivid colors than people were expecting, but I don't think that's a bad thing in any way. But I think they are going to focus on that first person combat, because that's usually the hardest thing for a lot of first person games, where hand to hand or melee combat is usually in most cases, and I think they're going to work to kind of correct that, or make it feel more, solid as far as between your spells and conventional weapons and things. But looking forward to both of these games. I can't wait. But Clockwork, I would not be disappointed if it winds up being 2025. But if it winds up being a 2024 along with Avowed, we think this year is a backlog creator for gaming. I think 2024 will probably be more of the same, where you have all these fantastic games to play. RPGs take some time, so we're going to have a lot of hours to sink into those, and some of the smaller games might get pushed to the backlog in the process.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to be eating good in Xbox land. There's no doubt about it. This year, we have 2 big ones, obviously, in Starfield and Motorsport. Obviously, I know Motorsport you're really looking forward to. That game, every time you see it, just looks fantastic. And Starfield is going to be a life stealer. That game is going to take over. I really think that if you are a fan of open world games, you cannot wait to get your hands on this. For me, I cannot wait. But let's bring in Crazy Lou Gaming on this one next. Crazy Lou, obviously, Avowed and Clockwork are 2 new IPs, which is fantastic. Again, I think what you're starting to see, especially in Xbox, is them buck the the 3 pillars: Halo, Gears, Forza, Halo, Gears, Forza. And I love that. I mean, first of all, I love all 3 franchises, but I like the idea that Clockwork exists. What's interesting is, I think, and I could be, maybe overstating the fact, both of these games do not exist in this world if Obsidian and inXile don't join Microsoft Game Studios. That to me is a fact. But which of the 2 are you most excited about?
Oh, that's actually the hardest question I've been asked, because I'm telling you, for me, both of them I'm excited for. I mean, I can't even explain how hyped I am for both of them, because, hey, for me, Avowed is the way it's gonna look, the way it's gonna work, and the way it's gonna be. It's like, hey, it's actually, for me, it's gonna compete against Fable. It could be a game that could compete against Fable. It looks like type of game, and I'm super excited about that. And for Clockwork, oh man, just hearing that inXile is taking like a new way, and they're making like this in a different type of way. Instead of making another Wasteland, you're just going over there and making a whole new game. Oh man, I want to see how it's going to play. I want to see how it's going to work. And just comparing to both of those games, Vampire Masquerade, and I forgot what was the other. It was
hold on, I'll tell you right now exactly what he said it was. He said according to Chad Moore, he says that this is a love child of, well, Clockwork is a love child of Arcanium and V Bloodlines.
Just hearing about that, man. Ooh. Just like I said, taking new risks, the studio making a first-person type of shooter RPG style game. Oh man, I'm excited for the both. I mean, I'm just super happy that Xbox bought those studios, and super happy to let them do what they want to do. It's fantastic. It's awesome, and wow, really, just can't wait to see and hear more details about it. I just both of those games. Oh, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot to get excited about, especially we as Xbox fans have been waiting for this. Like I said, we all are excited for the next Gears, right? We're all excited to see what an Unreal Engine 5, Halo, whatever looks like. We're all excited to play this year the next Motorsport, right? So we know that these franchises exist. We're all excited for them. But when you start to see that the plethora of games that are coming from XGS, from studios that had that almost went out of business, right? Like they were almost gone for, they get picked up, and obviously these are going to be two huge. And what are the one things that we've been asking Xbox to deliver? Single player experiences.
Yep.
Both of these games are going to be single player experiences that we have been asking for. And obviously, I mean, they're going to be they're first person, right? They're going to be FPS games, which is completely fine by me, but they're exactly what I am looking for. Again, new IP from legendary studios that take nothing away from either inXile and Obsidian. And then you can turn around and you can say, these are going to, on top of all of the goodness already here in front of us, it's going to be in Game Pass day and date. That to me is crazy. Web Dave, let's get your hot take on this, and we'll get everyone out of here so you can enjoy the rest of your Monday and finish off the first day of the week. Talk about it, brother. Which of the two excites you the most, Dave?
I'd say that probably the Clockwork. The steampunk aspect to it really looks good to me.
Yeah,
I think it looks fantastic. A lot of people, it looks too much like BioShock or whatever, but I mean, it's not the same game. You can tell clearly it's not going to be the same game if it has this quote unquote steampunk vibe to it. That's kind of what BioShock was, big part of it. So I'd say it's more of a compliment than not. If you say it looks looks like that, then that's pretty good look to go after. And that's what I'm excited for. I'm really I do think it might be a little further off, but if it's 2024, I'd definitely be happy with that. It'd be a good addition to Game Pass when it gets there, and I can't wait to play it. I really can't. I just we want to see more about it. I want to see more in depth as far as like what kind of missions and things like that you got to go on. Want to a little bit more about the gameplay. Is it just strictly single player? Is there going to be kind of co-op element to it? I just kind of there's a lot of things that we still want to know more about, but as far as what we've seen so far, looks amazing.
I agree. I mean, listen, I'm excited for Clockwork because it's going to bring in the steampunk aspect, which we haven't had a lot of in gaming, right? That to me is exciting. I'm excited for Obsidian to bring a Bethesda type experience, but told in what we all know and love about Obsidian. I don't want Obsidian to make the next Elder Scrolls. I want Obsidian to make the next Obsidian game. Same way I want Bethesda and Elder Scrolls 6 to make Elder Scrolls 6 how they see fit. Make a Bethesda joint there and let Obsidian make an Obsidian joint. And I'm okay with that. I think that we are, as Xbox fans, really, really in for a long haul of goodness. And I honestly and truly believe that Redfall, even though I enjoyed it and I put over 50 hours into it and I did beat that game, I can completely understand why people felt slighted by a game that launched half-baked. I think, and again, this is just my opinion, folks, that the Redfall situation will be the last time we ever see anything like that again. At least that is my hope. But ladies and gentlemen, hold on a second. We got a big super chat coming in here. The Black Viking, what's going on, brother? This dude is awesome. If you're not following him on Twitter, you should. Constantly interacting with everyone. Really good dude. He drops a very generous $20 super chat and says, "Boom, y'all keep up the good work. And I love each and every one of y'all's passion for gaming. Y'all keep grinding at the pod, and I'll keep crushing the memes." Yeah, he does a lot of really cool memes. Listen, brother, thank you for not only being here, thank you for the generosity, and thanks for interacting with us as much as you do. I love it, man. I think that's what community is all about, right? It's all about interacting with one another. We can have different opinions, whether it be political, whether it be about the box that you play, whether it be the color that you like, but we can all still be friends. We can all still have opinions. And you know what? That's what we're here to do. We're here for a conversational podcast, which is what I think you folks come here each and every day. And we had over 800 people here today. I'm sorry that we didn't have breaking news. The ABK deal is signed. I'm hoping that happens sometime this week so we can do a victory lap. I think all Xbox gamers really want this, not just for bragging rights, because listen, it is what it is. I think that from a consumer's point of view, if we can get ABK as a part of XGS, it is going to make your current service that went up a couple of bucks value even more special, and you're going to get more games in there day and date. And who doesn't want more games in your subscription service that you pay for? But let's get to the outros, folks. And of course, real quick before we get to the outros, I saw a lot of new names, folks. We are 202 subscribers away from 13K. Is it 200? Maybe it's 212. I think it's 212. Yes, we're 212 subscribers away from 13K. Really want to hit that and kind of just bust through 13K and start moving towards 15. That's the goal that Mrs. Boomstick and I set for ourselves. I don't know if we're going to hit it, folks. We're already halfway through the year, so it's unlikely. But man, to get to that 13K, doing it the mom and pop way, right? Like we're doing it the grassroots way. We're not selling out. We don't have a bunch of sponsors. What you get is honesty here, folks. You get fun. Sometimes I curse, and I know people like that. I don't like to do it, but like the whole Cog thing, it rubs me the wrong way because I love Cognito. That is my brother, and I would die for that dude. So when I hear someone attacking his character, the Wolverine claws come out. So sorry for the curse, but you know when you attack family, that's what happens. But listen, let's get to the outros. Start first with Web Dave. Dave, you had a great show last night with Retri, some pretty powerful guests. Obviously, you dropped another interview, as you do on Mondays. Please sell your brand, and more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media, but also subscribe to your YouTube channel?
Thanks, Boom. Appreciate you having me on here today. The Sergeant Sentinel interview dropped today. It's really a good one. He's a fascinating cat, and he also wrote a book, so you definitely should check out the interview if you get a chance. It's on my YouTube channel, Outbreak Gamers. And then, of course, we had a great show. We got a pretty good show coming up next Sunday. But this coming Saturday, we have our first ever bonus members only episode.
Oh, nice, dude! Excellent.
So yeah, which will be live for members only, and then we'll drop 3 days later for everybody to watch. And our guest for that episode will be Silent Cypher, who's in the chat.
Nice. Excellent.
Also, King David.
Oh, dude, what a great pair of community members. Both absolutely astounding members. And of course, I love the fact that you're doing that. But you know, obviously now, is that channel member stuff that you're doing?
Yeah. So if you become a channel member, then it's part of the perks, part of the bonuses. Yep, and we'll do that.
I wish I had the time, folks. 5 shows is a lot. I'd love to give you guys bonus something. I just hope that if you're a channel member currently, or you're thinking about becoming one, that the 5 shows a week is enough for you. I'd love to add but the weekend is dedicated to Mrs. Boom. She works Monday through Friday, and the weekends is like our time, which is why I don't like to do a lot of guesting on the weekends, because she only gets 2 days off a week. Yep. And as a dedicated husband, I got to make sure that I take care of the community, but I also got to hang out with Mrs. Boom. And as well as like today, I was literally cleaning up until like 15 minutes before the show. I didn't even eat lunch. I was just going to get I was funny. I told Crazy Lou, I said, let me get my two. What I tell you, I was having for lunch a water. Like I felt like a prisoner. A water and rice cakes because I just listen. Don't turn 53 because it takes a lot. It's a lot harder to keep this body in shape than it was when I was like, I don't know, 23. So my lunch was rice cakes and water, like a prisoner.
Boom, you are the bonus, by the way, just so you know. Boom is
That's
the
very
bonus.
kind of you to say, brother. Thank you so much for that. But listen, great work that you guys are doing. I love
Thank
the
you.
fact that you guys are seeing huge success on your channel. It's well deserved because you guys really work hard, and I love seeing it. Crazy Lou Gaming, sell your brand, which of course is the International Xbox, the Xbox International podcast. You have an amazing panel, great community members to be a part of it. Talk about it, sell it.
All right. You can start by looking for me at Twitter at Crazy Louie Gaming. And you can find me also, Tuesdays Playing with Crazy at the Xbox International Podcast YouTube channel. Sometimes I play scary games and, so you can watch me be scared. And speaking of the Xbox International Podcast channel, 7 p.m. ET Wednesdays with Silent Cypher, The Big Plume, and Silent Cypher. We talk about what's going on throughout the week. Awesome channel. Go over there, subscribe now, guys. We have loads of fun. And Fridays for the Spanish community, we have Xbox International Español with Eternal Shadai and Aska Gaming. You can also subscribe over there if you speak Spanish to know what's going on in the world of gaming. And also here, hanging out with you guys at noonish, Xbox Launch Week Special. Always so much fun with you guys. And chat, love you all. Like always, you guys are always awesome. And BoomStick, thank you for always having me on here with you guys.
Yeah, I see a lot of Halo Infinite slander going on, folks. Listen, give it a shot. It's free to play. I have put on when I tell you it's an obscene amount. I just broke 16 days, and I'm not ashamed of it because I have finished officially every battle pass from start to finish. I did the winter update. I did the hazmat update they just had. I think it is phenomenal. It's one of my. It is probably my favorite Halo of all time. The multiplayer is just so freaking good. We want more maps. Yes, I wish you can interchange the armor cores. There's a lot of things they need to do, but this game is, again, if you're a hater and you don't like what's on the screen, I don't know what to tell you. I have a lot of footage. I really enjoy it, and for an old man, I do pretty damn good. I'm going to be 53, and maybe not the skills that I have when I was much younger man, and like, let's say Halo 3. Maybe my brother actually used to train playing that game, but I love this game. I think it's phenomenal. But listen, last and no way least, Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, sell your brand. Talk about the best place for anything and everything racing, where they can help you get past 1K on YouTube, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
As always enjoy being on here with you guys. Always look forward to the Monday afternoon podcast where, sometimes we get breaking news, sometimes we don't, but it's always a great time talking with you guys as well as interacting with the chat. Love that you guys are checking us out, and always please continue to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button for more content like this. Always appreciate the time that you guys take to watch us. And for those that want to hear my endless rambles and rants on anything gaming related, you can follow me pretty much on any social media, Fuzzy_Belvedere, or just Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word. Same thing with YouTube. You can also find me on FSP tonight on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And then right back here Friday morning for Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning, right here on Double Barrel Gaming. Look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, thank you so much. And real quick, a couple shout outs. Thanaros, what did he say here? I might replay ODST. ODST is, could you imagine if we got a follow-up to that where I already wrote the script, folks. I would love to see a solo, maybe 8 to 10 hour ODST kind of situation with modern Halo, right? This is my theory. I'm not going to work for 343. They don't want me over there. I'm too old, but it's fine. I would love where they would incorporate a flood story, make it like a horror game, right? That you are a scientist, you're working on Zeta Halo. As scientists do, something goes wrong, everyone dies. You got to get to the escape pod, or you got to get to the escape wherever they're going to pick you up from. And all you have to scavenge for weapons. You find a gun, you find a shotgun, could you imagine that? I'm getting goosebumps, folks. That sounds dope. And ODST, that's another game I like to revisit every now and again. That game with Buck is dope. So underrated. My God. And what a great side project. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And for Crazy Lou Gaming, Wed Dave, and my brother, Fuzzy Belvedere, we want to thank you for tuning in, checking out. And again, I wish we could have had that ABK news, but I think that's coming this week. At least I certainly hope so. I really think the judge is going to be in the favor of Microsoft because they did too many things right, and the FTC did everything they could do wrong. But of course, I want to say a big thank you to all the super chats. Man, we had 24 of them today. That is crazy. Thank you so much for the generosity. Obviously, we do use it for good things like the big giveaways, and we have 3 big ones, actually 4 big ones coming at the second half of the year. And they're all going to be about same as last year, $3,500 in 4 giveaways, which is huge. And considering that this is like a mom and pop kind of a situation, we can't do that without your help. So thank you so much for the channel memberships and, of course, all of the super chats. And I want to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say this, folks: treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.